Welcome to Spyfall 2.0. This is the project that we created during the 2020 Code Lab summer internship.
Hi, I'm Shreya. I'm a rising junior at Athens High School in Michigan. In the future, I hope to graduate college with a bachelor's degree in computer science.
Hi, I'm Lavanya. I'm a rising senior in the Highly Gifted Magnet program at North Hollywood High School, and in the future, I hope to major in computer science.
And I'm Cirill. I'm a rising sophomore at CUNY Baruch College, majoring in computer information systems and minoring in digital art.
We were mentored by Alex during this internship, a student at UC Berkeley.
We all joined Code Labs 2020 with very basic experience in programming. So all of us had created independent projects such as personal portfolios or projects during hackathons, but we decided to participate in Code Labs so we could improve our programming skills as well as work in a professional environment.
This virtual internship was a great experience for all of us. We all learned how to teach ourselves new concepts and technologies by working together, and we all have become better programmers. Plus, we all grew to be great friends.
For this internship, we made a web game version of the classic game Spyfall, where players have to figure out who the spy is among their group, and the spy has to figure out the location of the non-spies.
So in light of recent events, group gatherings aren't really possible, but that doesn't mean that the fun should stop. So we were drawn to the idea of having a web game that would encourage people to connect and play games virtually.
During our first week at Code Labs, we met with our team members and our mentor, Alex, to figure out the timeline of our project and start a flow map of the game to visualize how it would work.
So one difference with our version of Spyfall is that we had our own unique user-friendly locations and roles that we created ourselves. Because in the first week of our internship, we all met up together and played the game at the same time to figure out what parts of the game we wanted to include it. But then we realized that a lot of the locations we weren't really familiar with. So we decided to tweak some of those and include our own more familiar locations to hopefully entice beginners as well. Plus, I designed these cute cards that are arguably cuter than the ones from the actual game.
We also started creating a wireframe of what we hoped the final project would look like. So we included a host page, a join page, a how to play page, and finally an about us page. We decided on a color scheme and specific fonts to stick to in order to make the design of our game look more cohesive.
So once we were able to visualize what our final product would look like, we began developing the HTML and CSS on Replit.
We also learned how to use Bootstrap, a web development framework, during the front-end development stage of our project, which helped to make our webpage way more responsive.
And during the second week at Code Labs, we continued to refine the HTML and CSS that we had worked on and began learning Node.js and Express, which we used to create routes in the web page.
The main challenge with our project was knowing where to begin, because Node and Express were completely new territory for us, so we weren't sure how to apply it to our project. Luckily, our mentor supplied us with some tutorials and made a document to explain the basics of Node.js and Express.js, so you can see it over here on the right.
After that, we tried to absorb as much as we could from these resources before regrouping and working on this task together. We created an app.js file using Node and Express that created routes in our page.
Then we included a main.handlebars page to create a template for all the other pages in our web game. Handlebars pages were used to generate our HTML pages so that it would work with the routes originally created by Node.
So the main.handlebars page served as a template for the rest of the pages we had. We created individual handlebars page for each different part of our app, such as the about page, the game over page, the host page, and we would copy only the title and everything else inside the body tags, which would then inject themselves into the main handlebars page when they're being called.
All of our handlebars pages were in a views folder, except the main.handlebars page, which was in the layouts folder of the views folder.
Because the handlebars pages only included the HTML from the title and body tags, the CSS files, pictures, and other static files were not able to be accessed by the HTML.
So to solve this problem, we created a public folder with all of the static files that we had. So you can see on the left that we have a folder for the cards, the CSS pages, the headshots that we use for the About page, and the JS files.
To access these files, we included a line of code in the app.js file, which used Express to access static files in the public folder.
So after creating these handlebars pages, the app.js file, and the public folder that included all the static files, we needed to duplicate and create CSS files for each of these pages with the same name. So for example, for the game.handlebars page, we also needed a game.css file.
So once we completed these tasks, we finally moved on to the bulk of our project, which is using Google Firebase to do the backend of the project. So like Node and Express, Firebase was another new concept for us. So it took us actually a lot longer than expected to connect the database to our actual app.
We faced many problems and had the most trouble learning about Google Firebase. We read the documentation and watched YouTube tutorials. Finally, one of our team members, Cirill, figured out how to read and write from the real-time database.
So after figuring out how to connect and write data to the Firebase real-time database, we were able to progress quickly with coding the backend.
So over here in our first trial, we have the landing page where users are prompted to enter their name. Our first accomplishment is that we were able to get that information and give it back to the user as a greeting, as seen in the video.
In our host page, the host enters the name of the event, how many players will join the game, and how long the game will be. After the host chooses the options for the game, they can press generate and a room code is generated.
So another player can also choose to join the game and enter the room code created by the host. So they will wait in a waiting room until the host decides to start the game.
So we're going to show you a demo of our current version of our game. So this is the landing page where you would have to enter your name. When you hit enter, you're going to be greeted and you would have to click accept my faith to go into the home page where you can decide if you wanted to host a room, to join a room, to learn how to play the game, which is basically like we took an about a game rules page from another person's Spyfall app, and also the About Us page, which includes information about us and our LinkedIn. But say you wanted to host a room. So over here, you would put the name of the event, quarantine party, I guess. Number of players would be 3, time limit, say you wanted to do it for 7 minutes. And then over here, you would have to generate a room code, which you can copy and distribute to your friends. So if your friends wanted to play the game, they would also have to enter their name and also get greeted. And then they would have to hit join a room and they would enter the room code that you provided them. And then it would show them here the name of the event that you put, and it will lead them to, it would just show this, the host will let you in soon. So ideally we wanted to do like, the host would be able to control, like if they already know that all their friends have joined the party, like they can redirect them to the game page where they would start playing the game. So this is what they would see. Like they would see their role over here, the location here, and then how much time they would have. So this is supposed to like be a timer. And then they would see all of the cards of the locations. And then there's this endgame button, which is supposed to be just for the host. when the timer runs out. And that would lead them to this page where they would have to discuss with themselves like who's the spy, who they think is the spy, and also for the spy to figure out where they are, where the other non-spies are in the game, and then the host would be able to reveal the spy, and then it would show it there. And then they have the option to either play another game or end the session, which brings them to the default landing page. So there's still a lot of parts of the game you wanted to clean up and possibly add new features as well. But for the most part, we are really proud of our accomplishments during the short time we spent together at Code Labs.
Yeah, we were able to learn a lot of new technologies and concepts, as well as learn how to be independent in our learning and work as a team to tackle really big concepts.
But these accomplishments during our 4 weeks at Code Labs inspired us to continue the app and fix up whatever we had remaining, like making the unique room codes for different users and fixing up the game page.
We are hoping that in the future, we can host our game on the Google Cloud platform and clean up the game page so all of our friends and family can play the game whenever and wherever they want.
Thank you so much for watching.